cloture.
Yeah,
On,
second on that.
all in favor?
Has to be a 2/3 vote. Looks okay. Looks like it is.
It was your-
Sydney, did you make the second?
Yeah,
he did.
And Mike made the motion to waive cloture?
Rick did.
Rick, yeah.
Rick? Got it. All right. I can't let Patty down. So the request, well, you explained it, right, Nick, regarding the request for outdoor dining?
Yeah, but not everybody was on. So Jennifer and Kevin at the Lion's Den Tavern and You Know Who's Pub, respectively, would like to be able to set up their outdoor seating on the concourse side like they did the year before last. Just for kind of like they did last time, where it would be a trial run, or I guess a one year basis, because next year it looks like the concourse is probably going to be under construction. If not, they'll have to come back and discuss it again. But with the reason we're asking to bring it up tonight was because we've heard that now restaurants will be able to reopen on the 18th, albeit at a reduced capacity, to help these folks do that, with our next meeting not being to the 19th and this taking some prep work on their part. We'd try to get this done tonight so that they could have the confidence to start setting that up.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mike, I need a roll call. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, Claude, and then I'll go after you.
So I've also been approached by some of the other people downtown to see if there's anything we can do to help out with some of the fees for being open in the summertime. I'd like us to take a look at that if we can, maybe at the at next week's meeting, and see if there's some way that we can make it a little easier for the little businesses in Waterville to try to keep operating this summer, even if it costs the city a little bit of money.
I'd be in favor of that discussion. It's a good idea.
I'll put it on the agenda for next week as a discussion item. And we didn't have time to do a resolution for tonight on this outdoor dining for the two businesses, but we'll write up a resolution that will reflect the council's vote tonight, with the understanding, as you said, Mayor, that it'll be a one-year trial, on a one-year trial basis.
Okay.
So,
all right, roll call vote.
So will that look like the resolution that council passed last year to allow them to work outside?
Yes, basically the same one. Actually, it was 2 years ago, I believe.
Yep.
All right.
Roll call.
Roll call. Councilor Morris.
Yes.
Let me see if I can get the order correct now.
It doesn't matter.
Please help me, Councilor Oliveira.
It's me, yes.
Councilor Smith.
Yes.
Councilor Mayor.
Yes.
Councilor Foss.
Yes.
Councilor Frankie. Oop.
Oh, no.
We'll take that as a yes. Councilor Thomas. Oh, wait.
Yes.
You're a yes. All right.
Councilor
confirm it.
Frankie's having some internet issues, but I voted yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Claude, it might help if you just turn your video off. Not that we don't want to see you.
Did you want to take up resolution 99-2020 next?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Okay. I guess there is. Is there a resolution to read? Yes, there is. A resolution providing for request to Governor Janet Mills, be it resolved by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers, that the attached letter be sent to Governor Mills requesting further consideration be given to opening up more of Maine's businesses.
Motion to adopt.
second,
Rick, do you want to just go ahead and read it so that people,
Sure.
everyone at home knows what's in there?
Absolutely. I give the preface of the Honorable Janet T. Mills, Governor of Maine, One State House Station, Augusta, Maine, 04330. I used last week's dates. Dear Governor Mills, we, the concerned city councilors, I got the, is this the right one, Eric? That's in the,
Sounds like it.
that's in the agenda with your edits?
I think so, yeah.
I think so too. I just want to make sure we've got the right one. Okay. We, the concerned city councilors and mayor of Waterville, write to you today to offer our assistance in reopening our city and the great state of Maine. Like you, we are concerned with the people's safety and committed to ensuring the elderly and immune compromised citizens of our state are protected. The citizens of Waterville have learned a great deal in how to combat a virus that has the potential of hospitalization and in some cases death. Residents are social distancing, sanitizing, and masking up when the situation dictates. Hold on, I got to get this a little closer. Our concerns center around our community and its revitalization, coupled with the safety of our own citizens. We have worked hard to rebuild our city to become a destination of modern manufacturing, arts, entertainment, and fine cuisine. Waterville downtown has seen explosive growth before the COVID-19 virus came to our shores. Small business growth in the downtown was moving in a very positive way. Families were drawn to Waterville again. Now these business owners, some of whom worked their entire life to build their brand, are at risk of losing it all, never to reopen again. We believe that with a focused approach on safety at the local level, more of the economic engine can be started without using a one-size-fits-all approach. By focusing on working together to identify best practices in combating the spread of COVID-19 virus, we believe we can open our local economy and stem the tide of closures. We would welcome open dialogue with your team, emphasizing a balanced approach of safety and economic prosperity in order to get hardworking Mainers back to work and continue the economic growth we have experienced in Waterville and potentially the entire state. The solutions can be found with teamwork and dedication. We look forward to working with you to bring back our economy while keeping Mainers and citizens of Waterville safe. Sincerely, and all the councilors' names, if they so choose to sign. That is the letter in the entirety.
Discussion.
I just would like to not sign it. It just seems to be kind of silly at this point because we are opening up the state. So my vote is to just not have my name on it. You guys can do what you want. Just say it's not from the whole city council.
Councilor Frankie, I saw your hand.
Yes, I just want to agree with Meg that it seems like a pointless exercise since the state is already moving forward.
Yeah,
Councilor Rivera?
yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. I feel like at this point, like the state is really moving along. I do agree that business do need to reopen. It does have an impact in Waterville, but we also need to take the precaution. And I feel like the state is doing that.
And I would like to
Sure.
point out, they can always go to the app engine and put in suggestions. So this is already something that's being looked at, like, from the state level.
Sure, and I certainly respect anyone's decision. We'll send a letter with or without whoever signatures wants to be on it. Obviously, that's your right to do that. I will say, for me, my name will go on it because I've had a lot of conversations with business owners who have reached out to me. Some of whom I get the call that they're not going to be able to reopen because they've been so wiped out. And while the state is moving in a direction, there's been very little guidance, and some of these places have to make a choice, like either open or be closed forever. And I think, to be honest, if you're gonna lose everything and be closed forever, it's like I would just take your chance and open if you do it in a safe manner. Because if the big box stores can do it, certainly small businesses can do it. We've had some in Waterville that have opened this past week. I was happy to see, and actually did so, and with lots of safety measures, lots of precautions. So it looks like some people are doing it anyway on their own. But I just want to send the signal to those businesses that, hey, yeah, we support you in this, and we support your right to open if you choose in a safe manner. Because if the liquor store can do it, barbershop, dog food store, Walmart, Home Depot, we think you can do it as well. And that's just my personal sentiment on it. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree with the mayor on this, and the context of the letter was well drafted, well written, well edited. I think it shows complete bipartisanship on this letter. I mean, obviously there was Rick and Eric were involved on it, Nick as well, and I do believe that the biggest words I want to say is that small businesses want to be a part of the solution, not the problem. That's the biggest two words I want to say to this entire council. I can tell you, in all honesty, as a franchisee, my owner operator has gone to great lengths to protect our staff with plexiglass in the drive-through, plexiglass on the registers on the front counter, stickers on the floor for social distancing, posters on the restroom doors. All of these business owners, like Nick has had business people talk to him, I've had the same business people talk to me. They just want to be a part of the solution. They're willing to spend and invest money that obviously some of them don't have, but they want to open safely. They want to follow protocol. They want to follow guidelines. And all these business owners, small business owners in Waterville, like has been described in the letter, during the economic revitalization, some of them are in real trouble and real danger of not opening at all. And if we're going to show any kind of empathy as a council, for our constituents, which many of these people are our constituents in our various wards, they live in our wards, because I have many of them that live in my ward, and Nick Isgrove can attest to that. They have taken great financial duress, and they all want to do the right thing. We're not saying that the state isn't doing their job. We're just talking about partnering, having open dialogue, and telling them, letting her know exactly where Waterville was on the move. We were the talk of the Capitol in Augusta. I know that through my contacts with state reps. I know some people that go up there and lobby, and we were the talk of the state. Waterville is on the map. People want to do business in Waterville. And I think we need to show that kind of empathy to those small business owners that have scrapped and tailored themselves through toil and rubble to just stay alive. And I think it's important that we send a signal of support and empathy towards that. And they want to do it safely and responsibly. So I think it's a very positive letter, and I definitely I'm going to sign on with that.
I guess my concern with the letter now is that it seems, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of these businesses now have the green light to open with these precautions and things of that nature. So I guess I'm trying to understand, we're sending a letter saying, hey, we want you to open, but she's already come out and said businesses can open, following these particular guidelines. So unless we're saying that we don't agree with the guidelines, then I don't understand the need for us to send this letter today.
Sure.
Like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm on board. Like, let's get these people, open. I mean, look at this. I need a haircut. And
So is it your understanding that all businesses can open now?
my understanding is that as I'm trying to think of businesses that are in Waterville that can open, and aside from lodging, I mean, I'm thinking that I don't know of I'm trying to think of a business in Waterville that under these new guidelines can't open. Like restaurant, like we have a lot of restaurants. I mean, aside from like the opera house and the movie theater and things of that nature, but
What about churches?
well, I mean I guess I mean, churches fall in the same as, movie theaters.
Now, granted, some of them are just going to start opening because I've talked to some of them, but
yeah, I mean, and that's
you know,
fine.
yeah.
But this talks about business. This doesn't say anything about worship or churches or anything like that. Like we're talking about businesses. I mean, I guess.
Oh, well,
churches
I commend Rick. I think Rick worked really hard to actually.
No, I
make
do
it
too.
language,
Absolutely.
because I would have made it a lot stronger. But look, you can sign it or you can not. I mean, I don't think it needs to be a super controversial thing. Lots of other towns have done it, and I certainly don't see a huge controversy around it.
No, I agree, and they've done it, but they've done it, a few weeks ago, like not after the new things. That's fine. But yeah, I don't feel a need to sign this at this point. Thank you.
Rick, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I want to talk about that app engine that Councilor Smith had made mention of. I happen to manage one of those small businesses that is not up and running. Yes, it's not an entity of Waterville, but I want to talk specifically about the app engine that was discussed. Yes, it's there. It's available. You're absolutely right. What happens is the last 2 weeks, I have hit that app engine every day, almost to the point of begging for our business as a motorcycle riding school that has now accepted curriculum to keep our students outside, completely outside. I can do everything, social distancing, sanitize. We're going to sanitize bikes. We're going to sanitize rulers. We're going to sanitize everything. Everybody's going to have masks. Everybody's socially distanced and the 6 foot thing. The problem with the engine is that there is zero response from anybody in Augusta, zero. This is the problem that dentistries that we all have in town are also facing. I know if I'm facing it just at a riding school level. Right, dentistry is one of those businesses that we have in Waterville that can't get open. If I'm having that kind of problem getting through to the state, this is the purpose of this letter, is saying, hey, Augusta, we want to communicate. We want to talk about this. How do we bring our ideas to you so that we can get open? Throw us an idea that says, hey, we've got this stumbling block. We don't know how to get over this, and let's figure it out as a collective and get over that hump. That's the reason that I wrote this letter the way that I did. I was hoping that I'd have everybody's support behind it. And it's okay not to. I get it. That's the greatness of America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's the intent, is to open that dialogue so that we can be part of the solution. Okay, and get more businesses opened up. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Good. Eric and Flavia.
Well, this is what I want to say about this. I'm going to go ahead and sign this letter. I think the situation has changed since last week, and I think that's actually an indication that the governor somewhat agrees with the sentiments in the letter, that this is an ongoing conversation. It's literally, we've never dealt with this before. This is a situation where you could not have possibly thought through every single detail and eventuality in every single business's situation. That's going to be an ongoing conversation about how things can open up safely as we move forward, including things like churches, and the business that I'm in, which is the concert business, which is going to be the last thing to come back. But I do want to be clear that what it's not is a criticism of the governor. My vote is not a criticism of the governor. I also want to be clear that I reject the notion that it is the governor's fault that some businesses have closed because of this. those closures are a result of the situation that we find ourselves in. And unfortunately, we're a victim of our location and the fact that lots of people want to come here. And unfortunately, the people mostly who like to come here come from the most infected parts of the country. And so I reject the notion that we can just go back to business as normal and welcome everyone from Massachusetts and New York and Connecticut and New Jersey that wants to come here this summer, because currently we have the situation under control. And by just saying we're open up for business as normal and welcoming these people in with open arms, we open ourselves up to no longer have the situation under control. So I think it's a very complicated situation. I think what people want to see is they want to see people on opposite sides of the aisle, for lack of a better term, at all levels of government actually working together and having conversations to solve these problems and not just turning everything into a fight. And so that's the spirit in which I'm going to sign this letter, is that I think we all need to be talking to each other. We need to be working together, and we need to, realize that no one of us has the answer to this. And frankly, there is no good answer, because, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But that's where I am. And like I said, I just want to be clear that this isn't meant to be an attack on the governor. I think it's meant to say that our community wants to be part of the conversation about, how we're going to deal with this moving forward.
Well, and I will say, I don't think it was written I think it was written actually specifically not to be in a spirit of any of those things that you're rejecting. And
I agree with that. I just don't want anyone to read anything into it, which unfortunately they will.
And I also don't think I think we've all been actually quite careful not to advocate for anyone to do anything in a reckless manner. And frankly, even the businesses that I've talked to that have been struggling to open and want to open or working to open, pretty much unanimously have been very clear about their sense of responsibility to safety and setting things up. Some have invited me in to say, hey, can you look at this, see what we're doing, see what we've done. So I think in that sense there's a very good sentiment among the business owners to participate in that manner as we get moving. Yeah, Claude?
I think everybody's had a chance to make their speech. Call the question.
Thank you. Mike, we get a roll call.
All right, here we go. Council Morris,
No.
Councilor Oliveira,
No.
Councilor Smith,
No.
Councilor Mayu,
Yes.
Councilor Foss,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
No.
and Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 4 opposed, 3 in favor. I assume this means that the council is not sanctioning the sending of a letter, but if individual councilors want to do it as private citizens, they can do that. I'm just asking.
It's gonna go on it'll go on my office letterhead, because I'm allowed to send whatever letters I want, and people can sign as individual councilors. It's just not an entire council action.
Okay, that's what I'll make sure the record shows.
Great.
All right. We ready to talk budget?
Yes.
Okay. Mark Turner is with us, and Public Works is on the agenda. If you go right to the front of your budget book, you'll see the summary page, and on that summary page, you'll see that Public Works is the second largest budget in the city in terms of expenditures. It's also the second largest in terms of personnel. And when you look at the total for Public Works proposed for next year, it's actually a decrease over the current year amount. Not a big decrease, $5,000, but still a decrease. I give Mark credit for that. One of the big reasons for the decrease is the street lights changeover, which Mark also deserves a lot of credit for. So let's let's go right to his budget, if you would, please. Page 36 in my book. And the Public Works budget consists of 6 different accounts. The first is the admin account, which is Mark and John Lombardi and April. They're in the main Public Works building. On that admin budget, you'll see that there's an increase of 4.5%, almost 4.6%. A lot of that increase is in the benefit block under the admin page. What we had to do with Mark resigning at the end of July and a new person coming on is, for health insurance purposes, we, for budgeting, assume the worst case where that person would take full health insurance. Mark does not. And so there would be an increase of about $6,000, and you see that number on in the budget, in the benefits section. So on the admin page, there really aren't any other operational increases at all. All the changes are in either salary or benefits. Can I answer any questions on this page? This one's pretty cut and dry. Seeing none, then if you want to flip to the next page, which is fleet maintenance, obviously a very, very important account. This involves the people that we have working that take care of all of our vehicles, all of our equipment, not just vehicles, but equipment. Equipment at the airport, vehicles, police vehicles at times, fire, although not so much maybe with fire. So this is the account that handles that. I'm going to let Mark take it from here in terms of pointing out some of the important pieces on this page.
Thank you, Mike. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm pleased to present this as my final budget. I want to thank everyone for their support over the years, and any residents for their support of our department. I'm very proud of everyone who works here, and the level of services will not be affected. As Mike stated, the biggest benefit to delivering a zero growth budget was the streetlight conversion, which allowed us to save $150,000 this year. And as we approach discussion, Mike and I will outline some additional savings in the budget that we were able to put together subsequent to this being assembled. So there'll be some additional information that we'll be sharing with you later on. With regarding the fleet maintenance department, there's 4 employees in that unit. We take care of all public works, parks and rec, and police vehicles and equipment. It's a very expensive endeavor to repair and take care of some of the large equipment that we have, specialized equipment. The parts are growing in cost every single year. As you can see in the parts account this year, we're going to be over by about $30,000. And that was considering even having a milder winter than we normally do. It's just been a really expensive cost for maintaining everything that we have, all the equipment. So other than that, I'm opening up to questions, if anyone has any on that account.
Mark, when you talk about the cost of maintaining the equipment, is any of that equipment being retired with the, with the purchases of the new stuff that we bought? Like where did you see the most money being spent to repair equipment?
It's mostly on our winter operational equipment. Those are heavily used and costly to maintain. Not only the vehicles themselves, but the equipment that is attached to the vehicles, the plows, the wings, all the lighting, cameras, everything we have that is associated with these vehicles is very expensive. So yes, to answer your first question, we are able to retire some of the older items. You'll see when we have the bond discussion later on in the budget process that we are able to retire some older units and replacing these with newer items that hopefully will not have as high a maintenance cost as what the older stuff has had.
Okay, thank you.
I see Councilor Frank had a question.
Is we approved a purchase of fuel at the last council meeting that had some pretty good prices. Is that reflected in this budget?
Not at this point in the discussion, but that's one of the savings that Mike and I want to outline at the end. So yes, there is a significant savings on diesel and gasoline that we're able to lock in at a very favorable price for the upcoming year.
And heating oil too, right, Mark?
Well, I believe the finance, heating oil also, and I believe the finance director will make the adjustments to what we provide for savings at the end of this discussion. Anything else on fleet?
Sydney?
Okay.
Sydney.
Hey, Mark, Sydney had a question, I think.
Yeah, I just want to, not necessarily a question, but, you know, pretty a commendation on your part, Mark. I got to, we've had a lot of years. I've been on the council with you. And I got to say that, you know, and I know that Mike will agree with this, your department always consistently and fundamentally comes through every single year. I know Eric can say the same thing. And second me on this is that your department has been the crossroads between make or break on a lot of different things. And I just have to commend you for your frugality and your fiscal responsibility and your rapport with all of your people and your staff is just unimaginable. So it goes without saying that you deserve this commendation, and I hopefully the council will endorse me behind this. As far as your budget is another really good looking budget, the savings from the lighting, everything in report. But Mark, you know, this city of Waterville is gonna miss you very, very much, and we're very you're definitely an asset to this city, and I want to commend you for everything you've done.
Thank you. I do want to add to that it's the employees that work really hard here to make everything work well. They make me look good, probably better than I really am, but I'm pleased with what you just said, and I thank you.
And I certainly want to second what Councilor Mayhew said. And one thing that Mark really stands out on, when I look at all of our department heads, there's really no one that outperforms Mark in terms of customer response. And I know you know that for a fact, Councilor Mayhew, with working with Mark on a various number of things. Mark really does respond very promptly and in a very conscientious way when there are issues out there, and there are bound to be issues. All right, can we move to the next category, which is the refuse collection? This is another page that has some savings. So there really are, I think, three areas that are going to have savings in Mark's budget. The fuel that was mentioned before, recycling is second, and then the sand and salt which I think is on the next page. The sand and salt budget is also going to be reduced. So in total, I'm not sure I remember the total number, Mark, of all those three savings. Do you? It was close to $100,000, I think.
Yes, yep, right around $100,000. So that's the item that we were going to offer out at the end, but just as well to offer it now. We'll be factoring in an additional $100,000 in savings to the bottom
That's
line.
fantastic.
One of those big items in the savings is the recycling. Unfortunately, the savings resulted from a huge increase because for the longest time, we have not had to pay for our recyclables to be delivered to EcoMaine. Well, we had to pay the transportation, the trucking, but once the recyclables got to South Portland, there was no fee assessed for handling the recyclables. I think we had that for a period of maybe 3 years. Eric or
It's
Mark,
been
if you
about-
remember, I think it was 3 years.
Five or 6 years now, hasn't it?
2014, we started.
Wow, time flies. Anyway,
6 years.
and I'm sorry, Mark, I'm getting ahead of you on this part of the budget. But on the recycling, with what's happened in the market worldwide, all of a sudden the disposal of recyclables is no longer free. We enjoyed a very, very good deal for a long time. And so when EcoMaine gave us a number this spring, I had to call 911 because I think Mark fainted because we were going from 0 a ton to 115 a ton. And when you add the trucking on top of the disposal or the handling fee, it came up to $148 a ton. And so that's the number that you see on this page, right, Mark, the 88,450?
That's correct. Yes. Yep.
And what's happened in the last month, we've been looking for other options for recyclable disposal, and we've been able, through Waste Management in Norwich Walk, to secure a contract to bring our recyclables to Fiberite in Orrington, where the new Fiberite plant is. So it's just recyclables going there, solid waste, nothing changes. Our solid waste and our recyclables both still go to Norwich Walk. Once they get there in Norwich Walk, solid waste goes in one direction, recyclables get put on a truck, and when that's full, that truck goes to Fiberite, and the cost at Fiberite is going to be $48 a ton instead of 115. And so, well, actually, instead of 148, I'm forgetting the trucking. Right, Mark? I got my numbers right?
Right. Yeah, their tipping rate at Fiberite will be $48 a ton. We'll still
Including
have
the
a
trucking.
transportation fee. Yes. No, the
Oh,
trucking would be separate.
Okay, it's 48 and 33.
Yes.
Okay, so
You say
there'll
that-
be a
can you say
savings.
that one more time, Mike? I'm sorry, 48 and 33.
Okay.
Say that one more time.
Yep. Trucking is $33 a ton. No matter if it goes to EcoMaine or to Fiberite,
No,
same
I'm good.
trucking costs.
I don't mean to cut you off. I'm good now. You broke up
Okay.
when we were talking about the trucking fees. So I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. So fortunately, that part of the budget, we've got a very substantial savings there, which is good news. I mean, it is an increase over 0, but it's a decrease over what we had to give you back in February for a number. Other than that change, Mark, there's no other big changes on this part of your budget, is there?
No, same. No, there's 3 people in that department.
Mark, have we,
They do a really incredible job every single day.
Mark, have we factored in the savings from no longer picking up the mobile home parks?
Not really, because I'm not sure exactly what that will be. That will be something for next year's budget, I think. But there will be some savings there.
Okay, so we're gonna save
Indeed.
money.
Yes.
Yeah, it just
And we're
hasn't
also
been
working on,
We will save money on tonnage, not having that much tonnage, but we'll lose some money on those folks not buying purple bags.
Correct.
Right, but we'll come out ahead.
Next budget sheet? Oh, yes. Mark, I'll let you take this next budget sheet. This is a big one.
okay. Operations and maintenance, this is our flagship department. 12 employees funded here. This is the most visible department because these are the guys that plow and take care of the roads and do the sweeping and all the cleanup and the maintenance and repairs, and a really dependable and capable group. And as you can see at the bottom, we have a savings of 6.35%, and that is basically because of the street lights again, because that's what's in this account. So we've absorbed all the personnel costs, wages, benefits, and everything, and been able to flatline everything based on what we saved with the street lights. We also have a small savings on salt this year. I was able to secure another deal, third year in a row, for the same price with the same vendor. So that's going to save us about $8,000 over what was budgeted in that account. We also have a proposed split position here, and I think you've already discussed that with Parks and Rec. It would be a dual position where that individual would work with us during the late fall and winter season, and would work with Parks and Rec during the spring and summer season. Not sure what the council has decided on that, but that is in here also. The total cost of that position on our end and on Matt's end on Parks and Rec will be $30,740 for each department, for a total of $61,480 between the two departments. That's wages and benefits. And we feel that this supplemental position would help give us more versatility in being able to provide services, and possibly increase our level of services to a certain extent if we can. But that's the hope we have in requesting this position. That's the only change really in the personnel level of the entire department, is that one item. Any questions on the operations? All set. The next one is traffic management. This includes all our signs, street striping, all our street lighting, maintenance of that. There's one person funded in this account. He is a team leader who handles all of the coordinating of street striping and sign repairs and everything to do with, our traffic monitoring systems and maintenance of all that stuff. Not much of an increase, 0.79%. Any questions on traffic? Okay. The final item is facility maintenance, and we have one person funded in this account. He is our facility maintenance technician, And the rest of it is all basically all the projects that you see us undertake come out of this account. A lot of the specialized projects that we do, moving the Taconic statue out of the concourse a couple of years ago, and all the other little special items that you see out there. We're planning to move the Lombard tractor this year. That'll come out of this account. It's highly specialized type projects that we usually fund out of this account. Sometimes we can plan these projects, sometimes they just come out of nowhere. So we have the capability to mobilize and undertake any of these unforeseen projects that need to get done out of this account. So again, this one employee is vital to our accomplishments, just like every other employee we have here. So it's not any real large, well, actually there's a negative 16% on this account. So we're able to save some money here too. And basically that's the heating oil again. So as we reach the bottom line with all of them, as Mike mentioned a few moments ago, it totals about $100,000 additionally over what you already see here for savings. And we'll have Aaron factor those in at a later point, I guess, as he delivers a final version of the budget. And if I come up with anything in the meantime, I'll forward those out to Mike for savings.
Don't forget
We're always
revenues,
looking.
Mark.
Oh, yes. Revenues. That's on the first page, I guess.
I think it's on the second page of your budget book is the revenues, street excavation permits, school refuse, host fees.
That line for the school will change, Mike, right?
That's got to come out. Yep. I hope Aaron is listening because I forgot to give him that change. So thank you. You're right.
But
That
that will
18,000.
we'll also see some savings from our tonnage.
Right. We're no longer picking up the school trash starting July 1. So they're not going to be paying us that fee. And they're also picking up 3/4 of the cost of the school resource officer.
Good.
That's $62,000 that we weren't getting last year. Mark, big change on that revenue category of the host fees, right? Just want to explain what the host fees are.
Right, the host fees are $1 per ton. That is any trash or solid waste that goes through the Pine Tree transfer station, Pine Tree Waste, Casellas. They pay $1 host fee to the city. So that would represent, that is 85,000 tons going through that facility. And that seems to be on the increase, so over the past years. So they're doing a lot more business up there, and they're honest in providing that $1 host fee for each ton that goes through. So they've been a good partner in that respect. They also pay lease fees to store some of their storage containers out to the former landfill area, so they pay lease on that. That's a variable type thing from year to year. Sometimes there's quite a few units out there, and other times they don't have that many out there, but they pay per unit, I think. And so that's in there also. Rental at the landfill. The other item that is real significant here is I programmed in a $1 increase per package on the pay-as-you-throw bags. I'm wondering if the council would want to remove that and not pursue that this year. totally up to you folks.
I'd be open to having that conversation.
What's
If
the
not,
lost
if not
revenue
over the
change
course
that
of the
with
year,
that?
at least
Compiling.
for a small period of time.
And what Aaron and I are doing is compiling a list of these questions as they come up. And when we get towards the end of the budget process and put everything together, you're going to have a number of these questions that you can debate at that time. A $1 per bag increase, a bunch of other things. We're just trying to keep that list going of all those open-ended questions. So when we get to the end, you'll see the pluses and the minuses.
Because just so
Yeah, as
refresh
far
my
as
memory,
the
it's been a while since
plastic
we had the
bag
discussion.
increase.
The $1,
I would-
the $1 increase, if I'm not mistaken, was to essentially make the program self-sufficient, so everyone was actually paying for their own trash. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct, that's the end result, yeah.
Yes, I believe when the Solid
Looks
Waste
like
Committee
And
voted to support it. Yeah.
yes, I mean,
And so
Eric, you
just
can
so I'm
say
correct here, Mike.
as
the
much as I want to say, being on the
recycling-
committee
the
with me. And
Somebody's delayed. Might be me. The recycling fees are actually going to be
It is.
lower than what's in the budget. So we're actually, with the $1 increase this year, we're actually getting pretty close to break even on that already.
And we wanted to raise the fee $1 per year for up to $5 because we were covering a $136,000 hole in that budget for the purple trash bag so that we could break even and encourage people, you know, and plus just reduce the tonnage. It's a win-win situation. So we're trying to balance the budget on this. And the only way that we could do that, you know, via the committee, we voted this in, was to cover that cost by $1 spread up to $5 over a period of 5 years to blunt the impact, of course, on the taxpayer. So, you know, I really think it's important that we stay the course.
Yeah, I'm not looking to delay the whole thing or to
I know, I
stop it,
agree
or
with
to,
every month.
just kick this out of the, you know, the thing here. But I'm just saying. What's that? I'm simply saying, can we
Someone's on
delay
delay here.
the
Speed.
implementation of the July 1st? Maybe I'll just call in.
I guess the one thing I would like to know.
Here, does that help
is that
everybody?
This is the one city, this is one of the few
Oh, my
city
internet's
services
unstable.
where we have competition. So people actually, if they don't like the price they're getting from the city, they have a chance to shop around and try to get a better price.
Yeah, again, I don't know if this is going to be delayed, so maybe everybody will hear this in about, you know, a minute or two, but,
No, I hear you.
okay, great. So I'm just with everything going on with this, you know, this pandemic and savings and things of that nature, having something take effective on the 1st of July, if we can maybe extend it maybe to September 1st, you know, that's more what I'm talking about. I don't want to suspend the increase for an entire year. I'm just asking to simply see if we can delay it a little bit so that as we start to come out of this, the one last thing, okay, well, you know, we're starting to come back to a new normal. You know, now we're going to just raise everybody's bag rates a little bit. And if we can maybe extend, you know, the implementation to maybe September, you know, I think would be a, you know, a nice little thing for us to do.
Okay. Can we move on to the next item on the agenda? Well, the next item is bond issue. And I've asked if we could to delay that to another meeting. We're still trying to finalize the numbers on those different bond items. And so that'll be coming at you soon enough. I just wanted to get a much more, a much clearer picture of what things cost, particularly on the pool project. We're still working, especially this week, to come up with a much reduced number than what we had originally. That's the biggest item on the bond issue. And so I want to make sure that we have a chance to develop that number for the pool as close as we can before coming to you. But and that, of course, leads into the discussion about debt service. So you should have gotten this debt service page via email. It was late today, sorry. If it was that late. And there is good news. I mean, even though we'll be, I think, if the council approves, adding a bond issue to this list of debt, we're coming to the end of a very big debt service item with our 2011 bond. That 2011 bond, if you look on this sheet, it's the very first one listed, is a big number. 500,000, 400, 500,000. On July 1st, we make the final payment on part of that 2011 bond. So starting next year, we will save from that one item, that one bond item, about 225,000. That won't quite cover the cost of a new bond issue. Well, of course, that cost depends on what the total is, and we still haven't determined that. But anyway, there'll be a significant savings next July 1 from retiring the 2000 bond, which is split into an A and a B section. So we're retiring the 2011 B bond. The 2011 A bond is still going to be going. That's still, so in the future, if you see a debt service for 2011, you might say, wait a minute, didn't Mike Roy tell us 2011 is retired? Half of the 2011 is retired. The other half continues, I think, for another 10 years. When your auditor did his presentation back in February on your finances, this is what he showed you all for a debt service. So even though I know you can't see all the numbers, you can see the trend, of the line of debt. Our debt is going down over time, which certainly is a good indication. And the last thing I want to say is when Standard & Poor did our bond rating last August, I mean, that's a very important thing. That establishes our credit. This is what they said about our debt service. In our view, Waterville's debt and its contingent liability profile is very strong. About 74% of the debt for the city will be retired within a 10-year period, which in our view is a very positive factor in the credit rating. So I think you remember Eric Netto during the audit report said that in comparison to the other communities they audit, our debt service was really in a pretty good place compared to our sister communities. So obviously that's not the only reason to borrow more money, but I just want to say that with the retirement of that issue completely for next year, there will be something to offset an increase should you decide to add a bond in August or September of this year. And I hope
think,
that
we've been having
a
this
week
discussion.
from now,
I think it's important that, because we've been having this discussion, we've been making that transition from the past where we would go years and years and years and years, and you take out 2 or 3 years in a row, these enormous bonds, which back, I don't know, Eric, probably when you were on the council and just before you were on the council. There we go. Maybe that helps. Just before you were on the council, there had been a lot of deferred maintenance, a lot of put off costs, and that created a lot of high expense for the city to fix that. And I think it's just good because I'm not going to be here next year. Mike's not going to be here next year, but I would just recommend to all of you that are just to continue doing more of these smaller every other year bonds and keeping up with the maintenance, because you can see it really does smooth out the payment stream over time rather than having those big spikes down the road.
Yeah, I would second that. And it also, staying on top of our capital improvements, replacing equipment, repairing roads in a timely fashion saves us money in the long run. Because the longer, it's like anything else, you know, if the roof is leaking in your house and you choose to ignore it, eventually you're gonna have to pay for it and it's just gonna cost you more. And Waterville had kind of done that for a while. And now we tried to get a little more on top of being timely with replacing equipment and timely with repairs to infrastructure. And that keeps the maintenance lines down in the budget.
So I would like to schedule our next budget meeting. I'm not sure when exactly that would be, but that next meeting would be about capital improvements, the bond issue, debt service. Again, once more, talking about that whole issue. Yes, Claude.
Yeah, Claude's got a question.
Whoops.
Does the city have a long-range plan about what we might do in terms of capital improvements? I'd like to see that if we've got it. And could you give us some idea of what kind of bonding you were thinking about asking for this year?
We do have a 5-year capital improvement plan, and that's what I plan to make available to everybody once we do have that that final meeting on all of this bond issue stuff. So we do have that 5-year plan, and the amount currently for the bond issue is $4.9 million. Now that includes $2 million on the pool, and I'm hoping that that $2 million can be reduced further. So that's what we're working on this week. We okay?
I think we're good.
I want to remind, go ahead, Claude, go ahead.
I'd like to make one last comment. I been seeing in the paper that the state is in serious financial difficulty. I know our finance committee met last week, and I'm sure they found out that we're in some financial difficulties. I think it's time that we start thinking about the realities of the economic situation and start looking for places in the budget that we can cut so that we don't have to go back and ask the property owners for a big tax increase.
We're meeting Thursday, Claude, this week. So we'll definitely have that discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, are we having a meeting of just the city finance committee before or after that? The one with the school?
The meeting is scheduled with the school, but we can certainly, after we're done talking with them, stay and talk about our own picture, which I think we should.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that meeting on Thursday afternoon at 3:30 is a public. I'm sorry, Nick, I didn't hear everything.
Do we have any kind of projections
Anybody else get
from the
it?
state?
No. We don't have
Do
any
we have
kind of
any more
projections from the state.
He's
Well, I
asking.
mean, really, again, yeah, no, not
Oh
in
my
terms
gosh.
of state revenue sharing, and state revenue sharing really is everything. So that we don't have yet.
Yeah.
I think at the end of May, we're going to be a lot better prepared to look forward to the next year. But at the present time, the state has not really been able to give us much guidance at all on state revenue sharing. Remember, state revenue sharing is our biggest revenue source.
Yeah.
And we've already reduced state revenue sharing almost $800,000 from original. So there will be a question, will we have to
30%,
reduce it
right?
further? And I think that's what Claude is getting at. Yeah, 30%.
Yeah.
Yes, Rick?
Last projection I saw was the state was going to lose $1.2 billion in revenue. So we can do the simple math there. We know that we're going to be in a world of hurt pretty quick here.
Yeah.
All right. A reminder that our regular council meeting is next Tuesday. And Finance Committee meeting is Thursday. Please, if you have any questions or any concerns, give me a ring. Send me an email. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.